Hello, you guys. Today we have an amazing guest called Gaurav in the show. He did juice feasting for 8 months. Reason being, he had chronic dehydration. His eyes had no hydration and he had to break down into tears to feel okay. And also, he had some digestion problem. Of course, when you are dehydrated, passing stools is difficult. So, in this video, we will be sharing his wisdom and experience of healing from chronic dehydration and moving into raw vegan diet. I hope you enjoyed the interview. There are some background noises in the interview. I'm sorry for that. Also, I will be getting Gaurav again on the show. So if you have any questions for him, do drop it in the comments below and I will definitely take them. I love you. I hope you enjoyed the interview.
Hello, everyone. So, welcome back to the channel. Today, we have Gaurav with us, and I have invited him to this show because of his incredible story of being on juices for 8 months. And I am so mind blown by his conviction and what he has done. So I wanted to bring him to you guys so that you can learn from his story and experience. And yeah, we all can grow more together. Welcome, Gaurav, to the channel. You can introduce yourself and about a little bit about your background and your journey. Did you think that you would go so far, or you just thought that you will go for 7 days? What was it? What triggered it? And what was the thought in your head?
Uh, so I was not so aware of what was going on because I thought, and when you're dehydrated, um, your bowel movements are like, not that good. So I was
Yes.
thinking like, what's going on? Like, I'm not able to poop. I'm not able to eliminate because like the channels of elimination were not open because I was so dehydrated. So I started learning more about it. And in this day and age, everything's there on the internet. So I somehow figured out some things like there's this person. I watched a lot of videos from this person. His name is Dr. Robert Morris.
Yes.
So he has a free YouTube channel where you can go and learn so many things. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, I can relate to all of it. So I was like, okay, let's just try. So he suggests like grape juice fasting and all of that. But at that point of time when I was starting, I only had watermelons. And I also love watermelons because they're so light. So I was like, okay.
Yes.
So I picked my favorite fruit, which is watermelon at that point of time, because it was July, and at that point of time I was not getting mangoes as much. I would have done mangoes, but I was like, okay, watermelon is something that I get throughout the year. So I was like, yeah, I'll do watermelon. So I started on watermelon, and I started like eating watermelon. So as I started eating watermelon, like a couple of days, I did not like, it was irregular bowel movement, but after a couple of days, like things started getting better, right? And I could feel the hydration slowly kicking in. So from there, I continued it for a week. Then I was like, okay, it's making me feel good. I'm having a lot of energy. I'm not sleepy like I used to be. Like I
Yeah.
used to, I was so lazy. Like I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, and it's like, it's like reverse psychology because, people think, and I was also there thinking like, if I'm going to eat fruits, where will I get the energy from? But, fruits are like, really powerful. They have a lot of energy
Exactly.
because they're so light,
Yeah.
and that's what the body needs,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes. Yeah.
and slowly started building that up. 1 week, 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm liking it. Then there was a point where I was like, let me get rid of the pulp for a while. Like, I would
Yeah.
I juiced, and at that point of time I had a centrifugal juicer. Okay. So
Mm.
centrifugal juicer is like the mixie, right? So in
Yeah.
India we know mixie. So I was like, okay, I'll juice in the mixie. Who cares? And I was doing
Yes.
it for like 2 weeks or something. And then I was like, man, no, I need a juicer because like, every time I had to stain it down with the cheesecloth, and it was becoming too much. So I thought, okay, I'll invest like, in a
Too
juicer.
much work. Yeah.
Then yeah, so I got
Yeah.
myself like a hurom. So I got myself
Yeah.
hurom, and it made everything so easy. Just like, just
Yeah.
chop it and put it, and that's it, it's done. So I
Yeah.
started
Yeah. This is a
juicing.
slow juicer, right?
Yeah, the cold press juicer, yes.
Cold press. Yes.
So
Awesome.
so it made my life really easy. And then I
Yes.
started juicing, and
Yeah.
couple weeks down, I was like, man, like, I have a lot of energy. uh though I was like, like my strength was going down, but
Yeah.
to get to the good part, you need to break yourself down first, because the body that we have right now, if you're not on fruit, then it's an body which is built on acids, right? And
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
before things get better, things have to become worse. And
Yes.
that happened with me. So 2 weeks after, when I got the juicer, when everything was set, I was like, yes, amazing. I started having fever.
Yeah.
Now that's when, like, I started losing my shit. I was like, oh my god, I'm having fever. What is it? Am I doing it wrong? What's happening? Because I didn't know that, that's a good thing, because fever is a good sign. That's where the body is trying to
Yeah.
eliminate
Clean.
the waste all by itself naturally, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay. And then I started reading about it, and I was like, okay, I'll let the fever be. And then my tonsils started hurting. So I was like, what is this sign? So I started researching, and I got to know if some people have tonsil stones, but luckily I didn't have any. It was just purging, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have tonsil stones, but people have tonsil stones because of their eating habits.
Yeah.
And the tonsils are inflated, and inflammation is everywhere in the body.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, it's all right, it's gonna be fine. And then I was like, I was forced, at a point of time, because I was still new to the process. I was still trying to understand it, and I had nobody around me to like guide me, right?
Yeah.
I was all by myself. So I was like, okay, let me see, like, if there is like a herbal medication. So that's when I tapped into the herbs, and I
Yeah.
figured out some of the herbs. So, and that was something that I had at home, like, raw turmeric, ginger, and honey. So I mixed all of them together, and I just took like a spoon of it. Uh, you know, that made me feel good, and I kept juicing forward. So fast forward, like, 3 days, I was back, with higher vibration, like,
Wow.
more energy, and like things were going up, 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 up. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna stop because it's making me feel good. So I kept going, and I kept going, 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 going. So
Wow.
yeah, never stopped after that.
Yeah. Awesome. So you were on juices for 8 months.
Yeah, that was just on juice for like 8 months, where I was just hydrating my body. And
Yeah.
that's when I figured out I also had back issues, because I was unconscious. You can say unconscious, because I did have back issues, but I was blaming it on the mattress. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I need a new mattress. I bought myself a new mattress. It was a memory foam mattress and all of that.
Yes.
But now I sleep on the floor, because, this is more aligning to
Yeah.
the back,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sleeping on like a hard surface, because at night, your muscles don't have to work to align your back, like, make it straight all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I sleep on the floor, and
Wow.
have some deep sleep, like, and a lot of dreams and all of that. Initially I wouldn't dream
Yes.
also, but now I dream, and it's amazing.
Yes. So, what was your past like? What were you eating before? Because you mentioned honey. So, were you vegan? Were you vegetarian? Like, what were you eating before? Because it's very important to,
Well,
like, understand where are you coming from before juicing.
right, so before that I was a vegan. So you're junky vegan who would like snack on like, anything which is vegan, like, and I tried out like mock meat and so many different things, cooked stews and other things. And I was mostly into like Korean food, so like a lot of like kimchi, kimbaps, and all those things, like,
Yeah.
so and I would eat rice every day, um just the standard Indian diet, rice,
Yeah.
dal, the lentil
Yeah.
soup, and then some vegetable. Yeah, I was on
Yeah.
the standard Indian diet.
And how
So
long you were vegan?
so I was I I would say I'm still vegan because,
Yeah. Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Of
point of
course you are
time,
vegan. Yes.
yeah. So at that point of time, I mean, it's not about like labels for me anymore. So
Yes. Of
if
course.
even if like even
Just
if
for
people say,
expressing. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm mostly raw, I would say. So
Yeah.
at that point of time, like, I searched the internet and I wasn't gonna take any medical pills because, it never made me feel good. Like
Yeah.
even if I took like paracetamol, it never made me feel good.
Yeah.
It mostly suppressed like the way I would feel, because now I have a full experience of what a fever is, right?
Yeah.
It comes, it does its jobs, it heats up the body, kills the bacteria, and then when it's clean, it stops, right? But if I'm taking the medication, I'm basically suppressing it. And
Yeah.
yeah, even with like, and now, like,
Inviting a new
I'm in a
problem also.
right, and then
And
it's like
pill
inviting a new.
and the bills.
Exactly,
Both are
exactly.
problematic. Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I'm not taking any medication, any pills, or any supplements
Yeah.
because, because yeah, like,
Fruits are
when I
enough.
was a vegan, exactly. And it's not even that, like, I remember when I was like full-fledged vegan on, like, eating the dehydrated vegan food and the junk. At that point of time, I was like, man, I'm like, vegans should have B12 because we lack B12. But that's not the right thing. Like, you don't need any supplements if if you're not like malabsorbed, because malabsorption is again an issue, right? And if
Yeah.
you're not absorbing anything, that's when you become deficient. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna, like, uh, fill yourself with more of that nutrients, like, it wouldn't make sense because you're already not absorbing. So
Yeah.
taking supplements if you're deficient doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because, you won't be absorbing anyway.
Yeah. There was someone who asked me a question. I just recently finished a 5 days juice fast. No, actually, I went for 6 days. And he asked me, I just like posted to my followers that, if you have any questions, asked. And there was this one person who asked me, is it that when the body is more clean, you need less food? So you've kind of answered that question in this, that of course, like because you can absorb more food. And if you, I think I mentioned also Eli Martyr with you from the Free Melon Society. He is eating like one meal of like 5 mangoes or something like that, and that's it. And he's like muscular. He's like the most energetic and the most vibrant person that you can, find. So you were saying, so I think in the conversation that we had before, you had told me that you'd become vegan because for the animals, right? And just like what was your age when you became vegan?
So this was like 3 years back when I became
3 years.
vegan. So at that point of
Yeah.
time, I was 23, right?
Mm.
And I was an activist as well. I was going
Wow.
out, I was speaking up for the animals, and
Amazing.
a lot of different things. Yeah. So we did all of that. And I believe, like, to it's still there. Like, if you want good health, that was like how
Yeah.
I started. Because, like,
Yeah.
you gotta be a vegan first to understand this. Because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
spiritual growth and physical growth and mental growth, everything is interlinked. And when you do something good for the outer environment, you also do good for yourself, because we are connected, the outside is connected with the inside. And it doesn't matter. For me also, the journey started like that itself. I was first a vegan for animals, and of course then we cut out on like the mucus forming foods, which is milk and dairy, which is instantly like upping up our health. But of course there's so much misinformation. I was living in Vietnam, and I was eating all these processed meat, which was just available everywhere, a lot of soy, and my health, of course, with all the environmental pollution that was there, was kind of declining. So veganism and plant-based are two different things, and veganism and like eating processed plant-based food doesn't lead to good health, and being raw is a completely different ball game, right? um, so I agree with you, but then like it kind of like you just take one step in the direction of something good, and it kind of snowballs if you're constantly like moving towards something beautiful. So you were also, just want to like tell my viewers that you were also a vegetarian, which is quite unusual in the West. We, you and me, we were both born in families which are vegetarian families. So my ancestors also were not eating meat, and I never ate meat as well. Was it the same case with you, or like there was a time when you were eating meat?
oh yeah, 100%. Like, nobody in my family eats meat, so I was never eating meat. But before going vegan, I was in a zone where I was so curious about, like, the Western
Yeah,
world and the Western food habits and the standard American diet, because you see, like, in India, it's everywhere now. Like, everywhere people are getting KFC, Domino's, and it's more like, it has more to do with like socializing, because all
yeah.
food is relationship, right? So
Yes,
yeah, so people want to socialize, so even if they
yeah,
don't want to eat, they're still bound to eat, and they still
yeah,
want to, like, because you don't want to feel left out. So
yeah,
I was in that phase too, where I tried
yeah.
out meat, but my body instantly was like, nope, I don't know what you're putting in your body, it's not going anywhere. So I did try to eat, but then yeah, it did not resonate with me, so I
Yeah,
did not even try after that. But
awesome.
yeah, I did give it a try, and
Yeah,
instantly, like, I couldn't digest, I couldn't process, I couldn't even chew it down. I was like, this is too dense for me, and that's what
yeah,
meat is. It's so
yeah.
dense.
Yeah,
So
and it
if
makes your vibrations also dense.
exactly, and that's the reason why, like, I didn't want to do it, and I didn't do it post that.
Yeah,
But like, if there is someone who is still eating meat and wants to go vegan, then they should maybe transition into veganism, like, leave out on the meat that comes from the earth element, maybe go towards like the water element. By
yeah,
no means I'm trying to say that you should have more of meat, but yeah,
yeah,
that's the way to do it. Like, you should go
yeah.
towards like
Transitioning.
salmons, fishes, because
Yeah,
they're already like in water, and
yeah,
we're 70% water, so maybe that's way, because it would harmonize a little bit. But if you're taking
yeah,
in the earth element, which is like, the animals that are found in the earth, then it becomes
yeah,
really difficult. But yeah, like, meat is not good. um
yeah,
I would say, like, processed food, even if it is vegan or non-vegan, is not good for us. And
yes.
the only way you can understand this is by going on a journey, be on fruits for like a week or two, and then everything's clear. you know
Okay. So,
it's
so
just a
since
matter
you're
of doing.
mentioning, yeah. So, thank you, man. Since you mentioned about being on fruits for a week or two, there's something that was coming to me last night that I want to really share with my viewers, is that when you are trying different diets and moving from one diet to another, it's very important to take it slow. So, for example, if you eat like 7 days of fruits, or 14 days of fruits, and you're then again eating cooked food or the normal food that you're eating, please take it slow. Otherwise it can be a big tax on the system, because now your body is like clean, and then suddenly maybe you're craving some things, and then you overload your system. So just like a side note that I wanted to like share. So
No, that's
what?
actually, sorry to cut you
Yeah,
off, but that's
yeah,
actually
no,
very important,
yeah,
because, every time you are changing diets, you're not
yeah,
just changing diets, you're
yeah,
changing the microbiomes which are inside you.
exactly. Yeah,
So, if you're not going to feed the microbiome what they need, then
yeah,
the one that you're feeding more will become in excess, right?
yeah,
So if
yeah,
if you're feeding good bacteria which eats up a lot of fruits, right?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
might not want to go back to the other things. But if you're confused and if you're flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth,
yeah,
then you can still have a lot of problem with that.
yeah,
The whole
yes,
intention of transition will not be initiated. Then you're
yeah,
in a different zone. You'll be
yeah.
confused.
Yeah, and it can actually like harm you really bad. I think your organs can get really harmed if you don't break your fast properly. So how did you break your fast?
Oh yeah. So before that, I fast every day now.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I I fast like it's a dry fast every day, for
yeah,
like 14 to 15 hours. And when I break my fast, I go to the lightest element that I can put in my body, which is air, because I do breath work first. Then I go to, the water element. I have my water, which is nothing. If you have access to like distilled water, that'd be nice. But if you don't, then that's fine. Normal water is also fine. Then I go directly, and sometimes I break it with coconut water, because in India we have access to like coconut water. So I break it with coconut water. Then I go to the juices. um, Usually the first glass will be without the pulp, and the second glass I would do is with the pulp. And then, um, moving on throughout the day, I would, if I want to eat something solid, now I'm on a build up phase, so I'm trying to build up. So I'm snacking on dates, I'm snacking on oranges, and I stop eating as the sun goes down. Like maybe max I can eat is like around 7 o'clock, and that's it, done. So I don't eat,
yeah,
and then I start my fast.
yeah, awesome. Same here. I also do around 16 to 18 hours of intermittent fasting, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I've seen if you eat your meal before the sun sets, it's a huge difference if you don't go with like heavy stomach to sleep. And yeah, even with fruits it makes a lot of difference. You pee less, you sleep better, and it's really amazing to like just give rest to the body. And I think slowly like just you know about Elitom, the breatharian?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
said he's your
I
friend. Yeah, exactly, right. So the path is there, cleaning the body and like evolving yourself so much that you can eventually live on prana and breath, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
living on prana is like different, because I've been experiencing it every day. So
yeah,
it's not like so some people like think like, okay, we can fast our way to the
yes,
breatharian lifestyle. But
yeah,
that's not the right way to do it, because
yeah,
we're still we still need to learn about the light energy, right?
yeah,
And the light energy needs to make pathways, and that's
yeah,
again a process all by itself. So
yes,
yeah, if we start fasting and we're like, yeah, we can become a breatharian, then you're shocking your way. And
yeah,
you're like, just like how you said, back and forth, doing back and forth is not the right way to do it. Like, you
yes,
just have to ease into it, and easing into
yeah,
it would be like giving your body rest for a day. That's what I'm doing
yeah,
now, like Saturdays for dry fast,
yeah,
and I'm planning to create a group as well, in Telegram, and have like an
awesome,
Instagram page for this, so that
amazing,
other people can come. And when more people know that they're doing this together, then
yeah,
there are less chances of you to like fall out, or like
falter,
yeah, and feel like you're the only person, because I know I've been through this journey all by
yeah,
myself alone. So
yes,
it doesn't have to be a journey when you feel like you're all lonely and all, because there are
yeah,
other people doing it at the same time. It's just that we are not connected. So we
exactly,
can just
yeah,
connect people, and it'll be
yeah.
it'll be awesome.
I'll definitely share your Telegram and Instagram and everything that you do, like we are in this together. Because especially I think as you go into like lighter foods, you also start connecting and realizing that how we're all one. And then the real growth happens when we allow each other to grow. And my light will shine more when I allow your light to shine. It's like it just like intertwines and like boom. And we need to connect. We need to connect. Like we see what is going around in the world. There's like so much suffering and sickness that is happening. And I think the one of the most like the first reason why people are sick, are unhappy and suffering is health. And we can see what is happening around, like with like all over the world. It's that fear that has taken everyone in the back seat and has impacted their life so much. So you were mentioning about how you break your fast every day, but how did you break your 8 months of fast? I think you have to take it really slow. Actually, I would say you are actually even now breaking it, right? Because you're taking a lot of juices. How long has it been that you stopped completely juicing?
So yeah, while I was breaking it, I had to break it like really slowly because my colon was shrunken because I could feel it, and I'll tell you how I could feel it because I saw so many videos on how to break my fast when I was juicing for like such a long time. So uh, like I went on smoothies for some time, like the banana, and I was like keeping it very simple, like coconut water, banana, blend it together, that's it. So I would have that. And the first day I still remember when I tried to have that, um, it was so different because like I didn't have anything at all, like I was just on watermelon. Uh, so yeah, it was really dense for me. I chugged like this 200 ml like glass. I wouldn't say I chugged it. I took my time really slowly because I couldn't chug it. There was no way it was going anywhere because it was so dense for me. So very slowly I finished it, and I sat there like like I had like a big thali, you know. So I was just like, man, this is like really dense, and I couldn't breathe because it was sitting in my stomach, and it's kind of closer to my lower lungs, and that's the sensation, like you've overate, right? When you overeat, you can't breathe because like the lower lungs can't take in the oxygen. And I was like, oh. So after that, so that was like I broke it in the afternoon, having that. And then again at night I juiced. Again the next morning I juiced. Then again I did the same thing, and I kept doing the same thing. And slowly, like I started uh moving towards like the dense fruits, not going to salads or any cooked food, because of course. So I went to like oranges. I was snacking oranges, and then slowly I introduced dates, and slowly like the body was like finding its rhythm, and it slowly was, everything was fine. So but it took time, like it takes time, but you got to listen to your body. I can't tell you exactly like you need to do it these many days. You need to listen to your body. You need to align yourself. If you're listening, your body knows. It'll tell you exactly what it wants. If it wants more dense foods, then if it's ready, it will take. But yeah, like don't eat with like emotions, because when we're eating, we don't, there's no switch down there to tell you like, okay, done, right? If you're not listening.
So if anyone wants to know how to break the fast, I would tell them to check out John Rose. He really gives it very
Mm.
clearly how to break the fast. And if you're probably going for 8 months, you should take 2 months maybe to break the fast, and slowly, but you're already doing as well. So it's important. There is a quote which is, any fool can fast, but it takes a wise man to break a fast. And it's like every time we do it, the first time we do it, it's mostly we have no idea. I remember doing a water fast for 3 days and breaking it with like cold dragon fruit, and then my throat was like really really bad. So you
Yeah.
really need to, like, this is something that I tell everyone who's fasting. It's very, very important to break it properly, because you will lose all the benefits and you might like end up in a position which is not beneficial for you, so for your body as well. So listen to your body. No size, one size doesn't fit all. You really have to listen to your body, and the journey of going into juice fasting and eating raw food is so much about listening to yourself. It's just not the body, the soul, the spirit, and like as you said, the spirit guided you. And it's such a, like, it could start from food and then move into spirit, but it's about holistic journey, spiritual evolution, which happens from one side of the room and moves to another side of the room. It's like then you clean all of it. So yes, and then I wanted to ask a few more questions, which is, you mentioned about mono fruits. So right now, what is your day like? What do you eat? And what was your experience with, you said you couldn't digest the cooked food as well. You tried. When did you try, and what was your experience?
Right. So, I've been eating cooked food for almost 25 and half years, right? So it's still there. It's like intuitive, like,
Yeah.
because you're still trying to rewire yourself. And you can, like, out here, we can say that, cooked foods is acidic and all of that. But unless, you're on fruits and you actually try it, you wouldn't know. So if there's someone out there who's like, listening to this, I would I would definitely tell you with your own risk, like you can try and you can experience it for yourself. Because, like, I was a
Yeah.
skeptic. I was like, okay, it's acidic. Okay, let me give it a try.
Yeah.
Unless, like, I feel it, I can't like just say it, right? So I'm really experimental with, like, with things. So I was like, I'll try it. I don't mind. And there was like a dosa, and this was long after, like, I stopped my juice fast, even though I continued juicing, because that's my, and
Yeah.
my routine is that, like, I get up,
Yeah.
and as I told you, like, I do my breath work, then I go to water, then I go to my juices. If I
Yeah.
have to snack on something, I would take it on like dates, oranges, all these
Yeah.
fruits, or like watermelons, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like, nothing, like, too hard. And if I'm too fancy sometimes, like, if I'm like, because, like, it's just not me living, sometimes you gotta engage with family. So at that
Yeah.
point of time, it's kind of difficult, because they'll expect you to eat. I mean, they expected me to eat when I was juice fasting, and I was like, I'm happy with my juice, right? Like, I'll
Juices.
sit
Yeah.
in the table. But then, once you start snacking on something, they're like, okay, he's going back, he might just go back. But there's no going back, right?
Yeah.
So I would make like a raw soup sort of situation. But then
Yeah.
that will also be too dense, because as you
Yeah.
said, right, like it takes a long time. I would say
Yeah.
I still can't do like big meals. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm like doing like uh, something with like cashew cream or something, I'm like
Yeah.
done for like 2 days. I would not, like, eat anything
Too
for
like
2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't
I
eat.
completely understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I'm looking forward to, like, I want to try like sprouted cashews. So like, because that's in the raw spectrum. So
Yeah.
like, I want to go to
I didn't know
Goa
you
for
could
that reason.
sprout. I didn't know you could
Hmm.
sprout cashews. So when you take cashews out, I also love cashews, and I'm like, now I'm kind of cutting it out completely, because I read this book called 80-10-10, and also like reading mucusless diet, and like most of the nuts that we eat are acidic as well, and they are like they're processed too, they're not raw. But of course, like transitioning, so everyone is like going through their processes and realizing, because sometimes you just want to eat it, and it's better to eat it than not eat it, otherwise you're in like different spaces. So I was just like researching on how cashews are made, and when people take cashews out, there's this acid that comes, and then it just like burns the hands. And I was like, okay, like this can be my motivation, that I don't want to put people in that space just for eating something. And like if we were in nature, we would not be able to take it out. It's like, oh, going through, like, what do you do, like take a leaf or something. So like generally, like I think nuts are not meant to be eaten, but like, transitioning, and I can't ask everyone to just start eating fruits. I myself am in the process. So 90% now I'm eating fruits, and there are days when 100% I'm eating fruits. But like, it's a process. So tell us about this sprouted cashews.
So yeah, sprouted cashews, basically when they're picking up cashews, like, right, so some of them, it falls down, and when it rains, it starts like sprouting. So
Wow.
that sprouted cashew you can have because it'll be raw,
Wow.
and it'll
Wow.
have the fat that
Oh
you
my
need,
God.
like from the plants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I want to have that. And I want to put in some fat because so right now I would say I'm actually transitioning from
Yes.
raw to, like, more light, because
Yes.
I'm in that path, like I'm letting light come to me. And
Yes.
we're beings of light, right?
Yes.
So this is like embarking a new journey, but then again, like, I need to stay in the raw and, like, the vegan,
Yes.
all that spectrum. So
Yes.
I'm still experimenting with it, because like I did like
Definitely.
42 hours of dry. And
Yeah.
for not even once I felt like I had the urge to eat or to
Yeah.
drink. But then uh, because like I did not go there, you know cleaning my bowels, so I had
Yeah.
to pull myself back. But now I know
Yeah.
better, like, what I need to do, because I'm
Yes.
already hydrated enough.
Yes.
So there are, like, like, there is decathlon, there was some thing where they would measure the weights and they would tell you exactly what is the water content in your body.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when I did it, it was like 80% water, and they just went like, it's not
Awesome.
possible, like, is something wrong? And I was like, what is it usually? So they're like 50%. So I'm like, okay, maybe you can give
Wow.
it a try. And then they tried it, and it came out like, that it was correct. So
Yeah.
they were like, are you water fasting or something? I'm like, yeah, something similar. But I was shocked
Amazing.
too. I was like,
Amazing.
this is unreal.
Yeah.
um so yeah, so
This is amazing,
mostly,
man. This is really amazing.
exactly. So I feel like, doing it for such a long time, I feel like I'm hydrated enough.
Yeah.
But I want to go into the deeper level of cleansing. But to
Yeah.
get there, there's a lot that you need to learn. For instance, what
Yeah.
you're speaking about is so important, how to break the fast. Because
Yeah.
when you go to the deeper levels, you can't
Yeah.
just break the fast the way you used
Can
to
be
before.
casual. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
it's not that. And I think, like, I broke it. But then uh after like a week or so, I had to be on water. I had to hydrate myself, because
Yes.
like all I've lost was the water, right? But
Yeah.
what I did was, like, I was like too tempted to have like a date.
Mm.
And then I had a date. and and then, like, um I wanted to have cashew, because, like, there was this emotion. I was like, one
Yeah.
cashew, it's okay, it's gonna be fine, right? And then you
Yeah.
take that one cashew, and then boom, like, my just, like, the whole face just went like, pimples everywhere. And I was like,
Oh my
okay, I know what
God.
happened there.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, but
Hey, this is a great journey. You keep learning. Yeah, it's like for me also. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But not everyone has to go through that. You can have your
Yeah.
parachutes on. Don't just
Exactly.
jump in, just like,
I was
yeah.
very, very lucky. I had a health coach with me who had gone through everything. When I did the juice fast, I also had him doing the juice fast with me. And like for me, the journey is like he's experimenting and he's like guiding me. I also did 44 hours of juice dry fasting, and he was the one who was
Oh,
guiding
wow.
me. He was always there, telling me what to do, what not to do. So it's been like it's always so good to have community, because it's like doubts. Even though I had him, I was like doubting, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure, because there's so much like patterns that we already had, and there's so much wrong information that is coming from the society. People don't know themselves. Like if you tell them that you're eating just fruits, they will ask you, are you malnourished? And you're like, oh my God, I haven't felt better in my life. I do look thinner, but because I've lost all the toxic weight. And this whole journey of transitioning from like losing all the toxins and then being thin and then rebuilding is a process where like you will get so many questions from the society, and like, because I understand they're also concerned, they genuinely care. And they probably, if you like, we met somebody, before also, we would ask questions. But how was your like family? That's a big question that I wanted to ask. How did they respond? Were they supportive? My family is like super supportive. My parents didn't ask me one question when I went vegan, when I went raw vegan. Sometimes she says, oh, you should be able to digest everything. but my mother but my mother also did like a big juice fast. She did actually 10-20 days more than me. I
Wow.
can't remember. Yeah, I did 60 days, and I think she did like 80 days or something. And like, they just allow me to be, because also they see that I'm becoming like happier, healthier, and I'm able to give like positive energy to them when they require. So, but then how was your family? How did they respond?
Well, my family knew what was going on because, our families are from the East, right? But now there's a situation where the East wants to be the West and the West wants to be the East.
Yeah,
So we're trying to
yeah,
find like a balance in between.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
my parents understand it, but then they were not so open because, my mother had cancer. She had to go through cancer. My dad has
wow,
like dystonia. Okay. So, and all of them, like, are like going through medication. And so my journey is mostly to reflect onto them that these
yeah,
things are possible, and
yeah,
to uplift them. Because
yeah.
I do understand there was a point where they were like, oh my god, I'm losing out, like, I don't know what's up with him. Maybe he seems possessed. Maybe what's up with him, we have no
Oh my
idea,
god.
right?
Wow.
But then they understand the process. So
Yeah,
it was nice. The more they questioned me, the more knowledge I gained, because like
yeah,
I need to put things in a better perspective. So
yeah,
right now
yeah.
I just told them, and now they're understanding. Now they're like, okay, we
Wow,
get it. So because
wow.
like I'm dealing with like the light right now, right? So
Yeah,
it's so simple, right? Whatever you put in your body, and this is what I
yeah,
told them, right?
yeah,
Whatever you
yeah,
put in the body, right, you need energy
yeah,
to push it out and to get the nutrients from them,
yeah,
right? So if you're putting food inside you, where is that
yeah,
energy coming from to push it out, meaning like to digest the food? Where
yeah,
does the energy come from? So they were like, we don't know, because like most people don't know.
yeah,
That's because like we are meditating when we are sleeping.
yeah,
Sleeping is
yeah,
unconscious meditation.
yeah.
So you
So
get the
light
light
works, huh?
in. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you get the light inside your body, then you eat something, and then if the frequency is same, you
yeah,
think, because we are fooled into thinking that okay, we're getting all and everything that we need from it, because our software is not updated yet. But once you
yes,
start updating your software, you're like, okay, I understand now. Because if you're
yeah,
putting anything like which is bad, or like vibrating in a frequency which is lesser than yours, then it's
yeah,
actually taking things from you. For example,
yeah,
like if you take a
yeah,
dry fruit and if you put it in water, it
yeah.
absorbs the water. Now the
Mm-hmm.
same dry fruit, if you put it inside your body, it's going to do the same thing. So this dry
Yes.
fruit was supposed to make you feel good, but it's actually stealing the water from you. And by the
Yeah.
time like you digest it, it's still retaining water, and it was supposed to give you something, but it doesn't end up giving you anything. It steals
Wow.
from you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
So, and
So
that's how the
I
health is
was,
going down.
yeah, even though you're eating healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when
And then
I
with
when I
fruits, it gives you life force.
exactly, because that was supposed to, like, that's the only food that we're supposed to eat, because we're frugivores
Yeah.
by nature,
Yeah. Exactly.
right? And how do you know
Yeah.
this? How would you know this? Like you take a banana peel and you drop it in ground, and at the same time you drop a plastic. You know
Yeah.
which will decompose faster because it's already in the DNA. It's already there. It's in
Yeah.
nature. It's a
Yeah.
harmony. Similarly,
Yes.
if you eat shit food and you compare it to eating fruits, the body already knows what it
Yeah.
wants. Just
Yeah.
give it and try it. Be
Yeah.
experimental. You'll know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can see colors. Our colons are so big, and they're like, we don't have claws to, like, eat meat. Our teeth, everything in our body says that we are meant to eat fruits and nothing else. And if it's like you get in sync with nature, like the seed, if you want, for example, I love coconut. Okay, now coconut is a seed. It's like so protected, right? It wants to not be eaten. But if you see a fruit, it wants to be eaten. It wants to be eaten. It, like, it wants you to spread the seed. For example, watermelon, wherever you poop, so
Yeah,
it's traveling
exactly.
through you. You're like, this is like such a beautiful synchronicity that you get in with nature. It's like you take something and then you give back. It's like a harmonious process. But what we are doing as a species is just like taking, and really not giving back. And unless we learn how to give, we can never be abundant and rich, right? So this has been my learning, that it's like it's a very huge shift in the mind process that we have to make, that we are frugivorous being. We are just meant to eat fruits, and the more we do it, the more our frequency rises and our vibrations raises. And life is completely different, because it's like your insight changes and the way you look at the world changes completely. So I really am curious about like your physical, like how, what were the changes that you saw in your health? Like, what were the diseases that you could get rid of? What were your problems before? Like, how are they now? And also, like, we will move into like the mental aspect and the spiritual aspect of it, if you could answer that for us.
Yeah. But before that, like, I like what you
Yeah,
said, like, you gotta balance things out. And
yeah,
that's what life is. It's a balance. It's a yin and yang trying to
yeah,
balance. That's the
yes,
balance, right?
yeah,
Is the masculine and the feminine energy trying to
yeah,
balance itself out.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I like that point. And,
yeah. I
and
mean,
I'm
not
sorry, I
not the
lost track.
balance, not the balanced diet that you're told to eat. Well, that's a
Oh
different
yeah.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
balance. Yeah, like
Oh yeah.
I heard this from Eli Martyr in his videos. He's talking about like healing, and then the whole fad of like balanced diet, and then you have to have all kinds of things in your diet instead of just like colorful fruits that are of different colors as well. So you were asking, did you ask for the question again?
Yeah, I wanted to know the question again, but I just wanted to add one more thing. Like,
Yeah,
even the opposite, the carnivorous diet. If you look at
yeah,
the carnivorous diet, the people following the carnivorous diet, they do respect fruits. They still eat fruits. You know,
yeah,
their diet has fruit. Like, they can, like, look into that as well, because like without
yeah,
fruits, you can't go further, and that's
yeah,
the power of fruits. So,
yes,
um, fruits are the lightest because
yes,
it doesn't rob energy from you, right? Because
yeah,
like it's so light. Like, if you're putting
yes,
something dense inside your body, it robs your energy. It puts you to sleep because
yeah,
you know, like the denser the element, the
yeah,
longer it takes. But
yes.
the
And as
lighter the
yeah,
element, the lighter it takes, and the less amount of energy is, you know, spent
expended.
in digestion. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. As you said,
yeah,
the life, you're spending out the life force when you're eating foods that are not meant for you, and then you're of course going down. So it's meant to give you energy and give you life force, which is there in the structured water, as you mentioned. I love that,
yeah,
because the best form of water you can get from fruits. And even if people are concerned about pesticides and chemicals, fruit is the best fruit thing to eat. If you're eating potatoes, everything is getting condensed, like in the soil, like all the chemicals are going there. But the fruit is up, and then the plant also filters the water and then puts it there. So like, and it has a skin that you can take out in most of the fruits. So like, fruits are probably the safest thing to eat, even in a polluted environment. So the questions that I was asking were that, what was the shift that you saw in your mental and physical health? So we could start with the physical health. I want to know, like, what are the things that you healed? And it was like your dried eyes were the reason why you decided to do the fast as well. And then you had a very good take around how we are using like gadgets, and how it could be a factor as well. But you had a very beautiful way of putting it out, so I would love to know all of that in this question, in this answer, I would say. Yeah,
right, right. So, see, I would say, like, my understanding after I went through the juice fast was, everything that is not harmonizing with the body at the moment is the acid. Okay.
yeah,
And all diseases come because of the rise in the acidosis, like, the acids are
yeah,
rising. So
mm,
that's because of it. So let's say if the acids are coming out of our hands, we call it
yes,
skin disease. If the acids are
Yes.
coming out of somewhere else, it's
Yes.
XYZ diseases, but it's the acid that is causing the problem. And how do we
Yes.
come to the conclusion? Because look, when we look into our diets, we are
Yes.
eating cooked foods. Cooking a tomato is a
Yeah.
fruit, right? And if you
Yeah.
cook it, it becomes really acidic. Now,
Hmm.
the the tomato that was supposed to be eaten in nature has a certain pH, which will harmonize with the body. But if you're
Yeah.
bringing in more acids, it causes a lot of problems in the body.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the yang aspect of it, the yin and the yang. So let's just say we're saying acids are the problem, then more if someone's really alkaline, then it's a problem too, because the candida starts growing, the fungus start
Yeah.
growing, right? But that will not happen. Why? Because you cannot alkalize your food too much, because either you eat raw or you eat cooked. So you're not
Yeah.
going into that aspect. But then when you're cooking your food, you're making it acidic, right? And if you're drinking like alcohol, smoking, you're actually like increasing the
Bringing it.
acids in your body. Yeah, the acid
Yeah.
load is increasing. And the weakest organ in your body will be the first to get affected. Let's just say if
Yeah.
you have weak kidneys, genetically weak kidneys, then the acids are going to go there, and they're going
Yeah.
to cause a havoc. So you will have like problem in your kidneys, and it will be called XYZ disease, but it's the acids that are causing the
Yeah.
problem. It was the same thing with me. My whole body was really acidic. And when it's acidic, the body starts becoming dehydrated, because
Yeah.
the water is trying to balance the acids out. That's why
Yeah.
even if you eat a lot of cooked food, you need to drink a lot of water. The more
Yes.
earth element you eat, the more water element you have to take in. And if
Yeah.
the earth element is really acidic, then you need to take in a lot of water. Like people love coffee every day. That's so acidic. One cup of coffee is going to take like four
Yeah.
cups of water to
Yeah.
like neutralize the
Balance it out.
pH.
Yeah.
Yeah, to balance it out. So if you're forgetting, and if you're not doing it, then the acids are going to flow to your weakest organ, whatever it may be. Because I don't know what your weakest organ is. You'll know better
Yeah.
with whatever's going down. So for me, it was the dehydration basically. So the eyes were dry, and I was like, man, this is because of working at work. I was like 9 hours in front of the screen. And yeah, that definitely harms. I'm not saying yeah it doesn't harm. It does harm, but and the Wi-Fi is there, and the other things, and the Bluetooth earphones. Yeah, these are all
Yeah.
bad things. But then once you uplift your health, these are just there because you were born into it. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it, right? Like
Yeah.
these, like if you take a person and like time travel them 100 years, back, like let's just say we get a person from 100 years in the past to like in the future, they would not be able to adjust to it, because the body is always adjusting, because the body knows how to bend itself down and to harmonize, right?
Yeah. Yes.
There's so many Wi-Fis. Now we're trying to like harmonize. This is a frequency that's been there for like a long time, and we're trying to harmonize. Even with the COVID and the other things, the body is just trying to harmonize, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just takes some time. Like right now, it's slowly harmonizing. That's what the doctors say. But I would say all diseases happen because we are on a wrong diet. Because right now we only know that we can get energy from foods, so might as well eat the right food, right? And
Yeah.
reduce the acid load in the body. So yeah, so that is what I reverse my body, with dehydration. Then malabsorption, because I used to eat a lot and nothing used to happen. And trust me, I'm not eating too much, and I have a good body right now. I'm
Yeah,
still trying
man.
to gain. I'm still trying to gain.
Well,
But
it's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Did you
exactly.
lose
I
a lot
love
of
my
weight
body. I did lose a lot of weight.
and
I
then you
did not
gained
lose
it?
a lot of weight. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of waste.
Toxins. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
the
so did
waste
you
from the
rebuild all of
hormones.
this?
I'm still rebuilding. I'm on a process. Like I was
Yeah.
on coconut water last month, just on coconut water, and I was like puffing up. So you
Wow.
don't need anything. uh,
Yeah.
the talk
Were you
about the
exercising a lot?
protein. Yes, but
Yeah.
during the juice fast, I was not exercising
Yeah.
because I didn't want to create any more acids. Because even when you are exercising, you're creating lactic acid. So I was in that mindset that okay, I don't want to create more. I want to eliminate. I'm focusing on elimination. And as the channels of elimination opened up, I lost all of it. All the toxins were out, right? And now I'm in a phase where I need to build up. So I'm building up. I'm like building that ammunition that I need for my dry fast to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
it's a process.
Amazing. What exercises do you do?
Well, I just like, so I start my day with like qigong, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to exercise, but then I want to include breath work because that's the
Yeah.
first thing I do, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the exercise of my lungs. Because you
Yeah.
know the the spirit needs to deal with the breath, because the
Yes.
spirit is made of the air element, right? Like we
Yes.
have five elements.
Yes.
If you look at
Yeah.
a ghost, the ghost will have only three elements, right? So the spirit is like uh, the breath. And I
Yeah.
already have water element. I might need some earth element, unless like I harmonize and I no, but the breath is all we need, to be really honest. Like, because I've been in that state, and
Yeah.
man, like it changes everything. So
Yes.
just coconut water, and I was buffing up. Because like
Yeah.
that's when I knew I have reversed malabsorption. Because I
Yeah.
used to eat so much, nothing used to
Yeah.
happen. And now
Yeah.
just in coconut water, I'm like gaining. So that means what? Like, I reversed my condition of
Yeah.
malabsorption. So we're all
Amazing.
malabsorbed because
Completely.
we were
Yeah.
on like a cooked food diet, doing all the traditional foods,
Yeah.
and not giving that one day of rest that the body needs. Because we need rest. Like in even in our culture, they say, uh, 11 days from the new moon, which is the
Yeah.
ekadashi, that's when you're supposed to fast,
Yeah.
right? That happens like
Yeah.
twice a month, but
Even
we're
even
not fasting.
Navratri, like 9 days in
Exactly.
North India, we fast. And then
Exactly.
I
And
think, yeah,
go ahead.
like people are supposed to like eat fruits, but they're eating all sorts of things. And I think before it must be 9 days of water fasting or something. So we're like just going down and down, because now people like fry their peanuts and then they eat it, and then they will make kuttu ki
Yeah.
roti and they will eat it. So yeah, I know fasting is part of our culture. Like, and also like, I never saw animals as food, which is probably very shocking for somebody in a Western world. Like for me, like if I see meat, I like feel like really giddy and like pukish. It's like I just even can't look at it. So like there's such a big, huge perception of like what is good to eat, and that has shifted so much, and like there's so much conditioning, and like we're completely like, and that's why like the outside is also the same, right? The mental health, I think, like I went through a very huge journey of changing my mental health through changing the foods that I eat. It has improved so much. I feel so awesome. And like it's the food. Like of course there is a lot of internal work that I do, like spiritual work, and it's like it's like hand in hand, but just putting in good food can elevate the process of spirituality so much. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey for me. And just so that people can like, because we had this conversation like personally, and I just want to point out the fact that how your eyes were like really dry, and then you said that you had to like cry to make it wet, and it was there, and that is the point that made you aware that you need to change something. Like of course it must be there, but like that was like a factor, that kind of pushed you to do something, because you, as you said, that you don't like Western medicine and taking pills at all. And then you rehydrated yourself, that now it's like 80%, man. Wow, I think you must be like one of the most hydrated people on the planet right now. For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels good. Like
Yeah,
it feels really good.
I
But
want to
yeah,
check myself as well. Wait, go ahead,
coming
sorry.
coming coming to the
I
point where like
Yeah.
you were speaking about mental health. So,
Yeah.
when I was so dehydrated, I was in a phase where, like, I had like anxiety, like,
Yes.
all the time.
Of course.
And you
Yeah.
know what anxiety is? You want to chew into something. You want to,
Yeah.
you know, that, like, you want to chew, and that'll
I
come
got
with,
it.
like, dehydrated foods, right? Because the
It's
dehydrated
like
food,
this, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you
You're
chew
like
it down,
spiraling
it's
down,
like, yeah,
shrinking
like
down.
the crisp,
Yeah.
the chips, all of those things. So I was such an addict. Like, I would buy peanuts, I would buy so many things, and I would just keep
Very well
munching
put.
because, like, I'm just dealing with my anxiety.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you you you're taxing your body, because
Yeah.
you have two brains, right? As
Gut.
above, as below,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what are you feeding yourself? You
Yeah.
gotta ask yourself before you
Yeah.
feed yourself something. You gotta at least ask. Back
Yeah.
in the days, people argue that, hey, we would eat this, that, and nothing used to happen. Well, that's because you were not eating the way the food is supposed to be eaten. For instance, when
For
you
a
look back
long
in
time.
time,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for when you look back in time, people used to eat food as prasada. Now,
Yeah.
when you eat food as prasada, that means you only eat little, very
Yeah.
little, and that
Yeah.
is sufficient for you. And
Yeah.
then you are also changing the frequency, because you're praying
Yeah.
to your food. You know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
praying, you're changing the structure
Yeah.
which is deformed. Are you
Yes.
doing that now? No. Are we praying before, like, having Dominoes? We're not. We're enjoying it. So, and are
With
we
some cheese
eating
on
it like,
top.
exactly? And are we like, eating very little of it? No, we're like just as much as our emotions are, because, like,
Yeah.
what is that sort of eating? That's a toxic, really. And
Yeah.
I was there too. Like, it's a
Yeah.
very, very
Not for
toxic
nourishment.
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not for
to
nourishment.
suppress.
Yeah.
It's to
Yeah. It's
suppress. Let's
emotional.
Might as well
Yeah.
say it. Might as well say it, because, like, doesn't matter, because, like I've gotten so comfortable in the conversation that I just want to say it, because, like, it is that I just
Yeah.
wanted to feel numb, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to
Yeah.
feel that emotion. So I was
Yeah.
suppressing it with food. That's what we
Yeah.
do, because
Yeah.
we've gotten used to suppressing things, suppressing
Yeah.
fevers, suppressing
Yeah.
emotions, suppressing
Yeah.
all the things, the diseases.
Yeah.
You go to the
Yeah.
doctor, you get a pill. Why are
Yeah.
you getting the pill? Because I don't want to feel uncomfortable, because the
Yeah.
body feels uncomfortable when it's going through
Yes.
healing. Well,
Yes.
nobody should get this message in a wrong way. Yeah, healing is like a painful journey.
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
It is
Of course.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not like,
Yeah. If you it's cause
Disney.
and effect. Yeah, it's cause and effect. Like you do wrong things and then you have to kind of pay for it, for some time. And I think like being in a loving vibration kind of helps with the healing process. So if you want to bypass that, then you have to do a lot of work, a lot of absorbing light, and a lot of changing of your mindset. But like you can't just like think that it's, oh, I start eating fruits and everything should go away like you take a pill, because of course like things will come out. And then I also don't like the process of detoxifying, like I like to like, oh, I don't want to do like longer juice fast, I've done it, I want to take like eat fruits and slowly do it and like feel comfortable and listen to my body. And everyone is different, as you like, you really wanted to go like 8 months full straight. And like it's so much about like listening to yourself and slowly moving into it. But yeah, like the journey, I would say that I think mostly the mental journey completely goes up, only because even if you're feeling sick, you have this like there is something that is telling you that, oh, everything is okay, you know like
Yeah,
you're
it's
on the right
trusting the
path.
process.
Yeah,
It's
like there
trusting the
is
process.
something, yeah, it's like something in your spirit, like at least for me it was like that, like told me that this is the right path to go, because there's like so much misinformation. But like just like following that voice has like brought me so much happiness and so much vibrance and health. I am somebody, I don't like to like go to the hospitals at all. I think no one does actually. But this is like the thing, having my health in my hand. And it's like we have to go up, we don't have to be in survival mode, we have to thrive. Like health is something that should be there, and from there you play. like you play your games of whatever, wherever you want to take your life, either it's material world or spiritual world, or like, anything, wherever you want to move. So if you have your health, you have all the dreams that you can dream of. But if you don't have your health, you only have one dream, which is to be healthy. Your body is everything. This is your vehicle, in the world to, like, play your game. So yeah, like there is so much of a shift that happens from just changing your food, because you are what you eat. I think these are all the questions that I wanted to ask you in this interview, but I think I have so much more, but it's already gone so long. So probably we will do another interview with you. I also want to do a Hindi interview probably sometime soon, and there's so much to share. I can feel your energy, I can feel all the information that you have, and I think that you are somebody who is here to share about this information to the world. So we will definitely connect again. And thank you so much for your time, and for your beautiful energy, for sharing all the information, for going through the journey of this transition, and like going through all the difficulties that we have in the healing journey, and being an example for others, and taking care of your body too. So thank you so much for this interview. And
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
if you if you have any last message that you would like to share with everyone, please do it.
Yeah, so all I want to say is, like, trust the process, right?
Yeah.
Trust the process. You need to harmonize. And, no matter what you're eating, even if you are eating fruits, even if you're doing anything, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're not feeling good, stay still. That's the best thing you can do. Don't do
Wow.
anything. Let the
Yeah.
emotion pass. Let it pass. And then you do what you want to do. Because, sometimes we end up doing things because, oh my God, I'm feeling this emotion right now. I just want to do this, do that. Doesn't matter. Just sit with it. Let it
Yeah.
pass. You will know what to do. Just let it
Yes.
pass. Stay with yourself.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's all I wanted
Yeah.
to add.
Stillness is the key, no? Stillness is the key. Amazing.
It is.
Amazing.
It is.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gaurav. And everyone, please do like and subscribe and share the video with your friends and everyone. And I hope this inspires you. Lots and lots of love to each one of you.
Namaste.